Well, today I'm just going to toss something out there and I want to get you guys' thoughts on it. So stick around. Well, hello again, Internet. Welcome back to the channel. Yeah, we're just going to make this one kind of a short one, but I want to get some of you guys' thoughts on a subject here. And that subject is going to be the TRIKES, the three-wheel electric bikes. Let me tell you what and I've been seeing a lot of them. We ran across a couple out on the trail a couple weeks back. Recumbents, we've seen a lot of them. That's not really what I'm talking about here, though, the recumbents, but I've seen some reviews on some of them. Some of what I would consider my friends from YouTube have reviewed some of them, and I rode one time. I don't know that it was necessarily for me, but it was interesting. It was interesting. But here's what my thought was on these. We'll let this car come on by us here. Is back in 40 years ago, I was into off-road racing, and some of you guys might know that, some of you don't, and if you didn't know that, well, shame on you. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, and you'd know that. And hey, hit that bell. Not only do we love it, but an angel always gets his wings when you hear a bell. So you see what I did there? You see how I did that? That smoothed that right in there. Smoothed it right in there. But back in the late 70s, early 80s, I was into off-road motorcycles, and I was into it pretty heavy as well. You know, it was a different world then. I had a little sponsorship from Husqvarna Motorcycles, and the shop that took care of me was Low Jack Cycles in Tarentum, PA, and they had Eddie was the fastest rider in the country at the time, and his job was he worked at the motorcycle shop, and on the weekends he raced. So that was a different world back then than what it is today. Now you've got professionals that train all day long, and they do nothing but train for their racing. I'm not going to say it's good or it's bad, but it is different. It's much more monetized, much more, I don't want to say professional, monetized would be a good word for it. But anyway, back in the late 70s, early 80s, they started to come out with ATVs. Now, if you're younger, you're saying, well, Blaine, they still have ATVs. Well, the ATVs that they have, or that they had back then, were not the same as the ATVs that we have now. They were all three-wheelers. And they started out, they were farm vehicles that you could get around on your farm or on your ranch on. And then what happened to them is people started to sport with them. So they started building them for sport. And too many people rolled them. And they became what the powers that be claimed was too dangerous. So they ended up banning them. Were they too dangerous? I don't know. I rode some, and I rode with some guys that were extremely good. I made it up to the expert division in the race, and some of these guys could hang with me in pretty tight woods. I don't know how they ended up doing it, because I was no slouch on a motorcycle. I was, you know, pretty quick by most standards, not, you know, the best in the country, but if I showed up at a local race, they was looking at me and saying, yeah, we got to watch him. He's going to be the one to beat, you know, if it was a local race. If it was bigger than a local race, I'd say, who's that? So, but they ended up banning them completely. And I'm wondering what's going to happen with the TRIKES. Are they going to end up being banned as well? as of right now, what I have seen on them, they're pretty much locked to where you don't go very fast on them, and that would make sense, because they don't want people toppling over on them. They don't want the lawsuits coming out of that, you know, that could potentially be there, and it's already been set that way on a gas-powered three-wheeler, you know, as far as the lawsuits. So what do we think is going to happen with these electric bikes after a certain period of time? And what do you think is going to happen with them after a certain period of time? You know, e-bikes were never as fast as, you know, 10 years ago, 12 years ago. They were never like some of these e-bikes are now. You know, they really go fast. Are the three-wheelers going to go the same way? And then is it going to become a political, is somebody going to lobby enough to make it a political problem? And is that problem going to carry over into e-bikes itself? You know, we just did a video on basically regulations and what should go on with the cycleways and, you know, biking trails, whether they're greenways or whatever. Would this be an effect on it? You know, now I can tell you the ban on the three-wheelers did not affect the two-wheelers one bit. There was zero. I was never, quote, into the three-wheelers. You know, I rode one, or I mean, I rode several of them here and there that friends would have, and played with them a little bit, but I was never really into it. But I can tell you the ban never affected me one single bit on two wheels, on the two-wheelers. We're talking 40 years ago, though, friends. It's a little different world now. Is this going to be something that's going to carry over? Now, there's a little food for thought. Who knows? Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But it was just something that I was thinking about as I've seen, you know, seen them out on the trail. I seen Rad has released one. Bruce just did a video on one. Russ is right. Was talking about one. I think he rode one when he was out on vacation at the Rad store, you know. And you guys that have rode them, I know everybody says they feel like they could tip over a little bit. I can tell you right now, three-wheeler motorcycle would tip over on you. But I also will tell you, at that point in my life, if I wasn't, I mean, right on the verge of an accident, I wasn't riding as fast as I could. And that's not kind of my mentality at the time. Is, let's see, I think I'm going to hook back up this way here and head back into the house. But yeah, if I wasn't right on the verge of being if I wasn't out of control and right on the verge of being in control, as far as I was concerned, I wasn't riding fast enough. I don't look at it that way now. But yeah, you really had to lean to keep them bikes from rolling over. What about these ones here? I've heard several people say they feel like they're, you know, they're going to tip over on you. Are they? Or did you ride them enough that you said, you know, that's what it feels like, but it's not. And I'd be real curious to know that. You know, like I said, I've not put enough of a ride on any of them to really be able to be in the know on that. I'm ignorant of these things, so I'd like to get some input on that. Now, that being said, and what made me start thinking of this entire controversy is Bruce was talking about, you know, he's doing a really nice thing. He's got a bike that he's reviewing, and he's going to give it to somebody that could use it. And I think this is maybe the same friend that has had an issue for quite a little while, and he would not be able to get out otherwise. So I think they're a fabulous thing for something like that right there. That's the positive side of them. So I'm not telling you I have a feeling of good for them or a feeling of bad for them. You know, I'm the kind that says sort of, hey, take care of yourself. You know, if you want to crack that sucker up and get you a 3-wheeled bicycle, electric bike that goes 100 miles an hour and it'll roll at 60 miles an hour, well, you know, that's up to you. Don't roll it. Where other people come down and say, no, you're not allowed to manufacture it like that. And I can see the manufacturer's point. Yeah, we tell them not to roll it and they do it anyway, and then they sue us and they win. So, you know, I can see both sides of it. I'm usually big on taking responsibility for myself. If I do something stupid, well, that's what I call a stupid tax I end up paying. Whether it's a pay in pain or paying in money, normally to a doctor. But, you know, there's the good side of these things too, where people that could not get out, there was somebody somewhere I seen on a video was out riding and somebody was fussing at him. I think it was Area 13 did a thing about Karens, and somebody needed one for getting around, so he was out on a trail and somebody was fussing that he's not allowed to have. I think maybe it was an electric bike, but this was a 3-wheeled, maybe a recumbent, but it definitely looked like a 3-wheeler. So there's a definite place for them. What do you guys have to say? Like I said, I just thought I would toss this out there. I just come out for a short little ride tonight. I had about an extra 30 minutes and I thought I'm going to go ahead and go for it. But now I got to get back in there, and don't know if I'll put this video out too quick or if it might just get held for one of these days. I'll put it out, you know, when we can't get out for some reason or another, we'll put it out and hold it for that. Who knows? But assuming it goes out, put down in the comments your opinions on e-trikes. After what I said, the e-motorcycle, not e-3-wheel motorcycles ended up getting banned after a short period of time because somebody lobbied and said they were too dangerous. Is that a fear that's going to come up, and do you think that's going to fall over into e-bikes as well? So that's going to do it. There's a little food for thought for you. And that's going to wrap it up for this one here. Like I said, short and sweet. We'll catch you on the next one, and until that next one, hey, Southern E-Biking telling you, stay safe, God bless, and keep the wheels rolling. Once again, we are out.